Hey guys, this is CSDX, but you can call me Sean, and welcome to another rendition of Appraisal, where I determined that, truth be told, I turned out not to be as big a fan of Nights into Dreams as I thought I'd be. Trust me, this does relate to the situation at hand. Nights into Dreams released for the Sega Saturn way back in 1996, and is arguably considered one of the best Saturn games out there, and it thankfully got an HD remaster on PS3, 360, Steam, and it even got a sequel. A sequel. On the Wii. And I've still yet to play it. I finally got around to trying to beat it to go through my backlog, and found it was one of those games. You know, the kind that requires you to be good at the game. Not like the Soulsborne games, but like, let's just say that I did my absolute best in World 1 for the boy character to try and get an overall C rank, because that is required for all 6 worlds prior to the final one, and I still got a D. I actually suck enough to not be able to complete Nights into Dreams. Nevertheless, Yuji Naka, the game's producer and father figure of the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog, ended up wanting to make a spiritual successor in Balan Wonderworld. It was published by Square Enix. They had a specific development team put together to work on this game. It's one of the few instances Square dabbled in platforming, let alone 3D platforming. What could even go wrong? Well, for starters, not sure what's going on with Xbox One though. And second, the game did have some hype going into it, at least from my perspective, but then they released a demo and the writing was on the wall. Truth be told, I played the demo and honestly, I found it to be okay. Nothing too amazing, but I found it alright. I was so confident that I liked the rest of the game that I stupidly bought the Xbox One version, which then got converted to the Series X version, played the demo on there for the special bonus costume you're supposed to get, and even bought the Switch version for playing it on the go. However, even if it's to say that I wanted to support Naka-san, I then got around to playing past Chapter 1 to see if the game had at least aged better in a year's time like a cult classic, and that was when I realized I wasn't having fun. Those user reviews from fake accounts lied to me! Not many games are able to make me feel such a sense of dread when playing it that it actually doesn't feel fun to play, and feels more like a chore. They are Chibi Robo Ziplash, Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, I am genuinely sorry, New Pokemon Snap, I swear I'm gonna give this another shot though, I promise. And that was it until Balan Wonderworld was properly played. You know, truth be told, this was supposed to be a more positive review, being like, oh, this game's not so bad, it's just overhyped to no end, and also it's just average really, but like not too insult. No. This game is actually bad. It is one of the most soul-draining games I've ever played in my life. It is no wonder that people put this game on the top of their worst games of 2021 list. People like Pro Gerard the Finishist. Does anyone even remember that bit at all? Anyone at all? I get it was like 7 years ago, but still. So Balan Wonderworld is a 3D platformer. You go through the levels, collect costumes that are power-ups that also act as a hit point, collect drops to feed the little birds called Tims, so they eventually birth eggs and help you build a tower. And yeah, that's about it. In each chapter, you basically save someone that has fallen into despair by beating the crap out of them in a boss battle, do a dance with them because fuck it, and then they manage to continue doing what they enjoy. And then you basically repeat this 12 times! Yeah, truth be told, that's really all there is to this game. The gameplay ends up monotonous to all hell, and it just doesn't feel fun. It also doesn't help that for whatever reason, every single button on the controller does the same thing, being either jump or whatever the power the costume you're wearing has. The only buttons that don't do that are the start and select buttons, obviously, and the shoulder buttons. Nah, they need at least 2 buttons to change costumes during gameplay. Who signed off on this control scheme? What, did they feel the need to use every button before realizing some stuff could be mapped into a single one? Let me explain. Say you have a costume that lets you shoot fire. Instead of one button being jump and another being to shoot the fire, they all shoot fire and you're stuck being unable to jump unless you change to a costume that can. You know what I would have done, to be honest? Left trigger and right trigger do camera control, alternatively from the right stick. A be jump, X be the power-up ability, B to feed the Tims in the hub world, and Y to move into the first person view to initiate the camera for that. Oh, speaking of costumes, you know how I mentioned I played the demo to get a special bonus costume? Well, here it is. It's genuinely useless. Okay, so to clarify something, it seems the skin for this is different with every version of the game, with Nintendo having a red one and Xbox having a black one with the Xbox logo on it. Honestly, I think that's a very neat touch and helps make it a unique feeling. What doesn't help is that it's only used as shooting pellets, but only while you're standing still at a clear as day height that is way too high to hit most enemies that pop up. I didn't test this, but I'm choosing to believe this so I don't have to go back and re-record footage of this crap. And the story? Honestly, you barely even noticed there was one, and from my research, there is some backstory to the player's characters, but most of it is stuck in a book, because it works so well for Luca for the book in relation to Devil May Cry 5. No, I'm not letting that go. Screw you. By the way, even if you beat the levels and want to go on to the next chapter, you need to get golden statues of Balan to unlock them, turning a collectible that would fit better for completionists into a requirement. They're hidden throughout each level, up to 8 each, and you can get 3 extra ones by using 3 different costumes you have on a boss to get a hit, 1 per unique costume, bringing the total statues to find overall to 19 per chapter. This is why I decided not to continue, because that's just too much repetition for the damn sake of padding. Seriously, you look at chapter 2 and 3, unlocking after 8 statues, and then chapter 4 and such, unlocking after 25, and try to tell me that that isn't padding for the sake of prolonging an otherwise possibly 5-hour game at the cost of $60 at launch. Not to mention, when you get the right to open new worlds, you get on a train, and it is literally just taking you to the exact same hub world. It's just going in a circle. Who signed off on this goddamn nonsense? Okay, so I will be frank. If there is one positive that I can say about this game, it's the visuals. The graphics are pretty damn good, actually. The graphics and art design, I feel, is so damn good, with an art style that truly harkens back to the original Nights into Dreams, and even the sequel, I think. Not to mention the aforementioned dancing bits are just an absolute treat for the eye, so colorful and it pops out at you. In fact, the music is pretty damn good too. Unfortunately, that genuinely is where my praise ends for this game, and this game is truly a perfect example of why graphics will never matter more than gameplay, and that pretty visuals should not be all that you need to know if a game is good or not, let alone buy one for said visuals. Oh, but wait, you can find a golden hat to play as Balan himself. Hell yeah! It's just a quick time event sequence. This is arguably the biggest waste of potential I've ever seen, let alone in this game. Remember when everyone's favorite part of Nights into Dreams was when you got to play as him and move around the level flying as you see fit? Yeah, wouldn't it be so much better if it was all just tapping a button at the right time? What? No, you say? Well, Naka-san clearly thought differently. Oh hey, a mirror. Earlier, this game said going into mirrors leads to other parts of the level, so let's go in this one. The game's tutorial straight up says, in the first level of the first chapter at the beginning of the game, that you can go through mirrors to warp to other parts of the stage. So what the hell was that? Why the hell would this game teach us something in the tutorial that they just completely disregard later on? It'd be like making one of the costumes have the ability to turn you into a block randomly and nothing more. Oh, by the way, they made one of the costumes have the ability to randomly turn you into a block and nothing more. Oh, and there's also random costumes you can find that have no use outside of doing a fucking sports minigame. Did anyone bother to tell Naka-san no? Actually, no, they didn't. Because this game went through what I like to call the Go Nuts initiative, where a big company gives the director of a movie, game, whatever else, free reign to do as they please with the game, movie, or whatever else. I can only think of 2 other examples though, one of which I won't use footage of because I will get hit with major copyright, being Wonder Woman 1984. Honestly, I didn't see the movie properly, all I saw was a nostalgia critic review, so I really can't go by his word if the movie's good or bad, if he's gonna cry about Candyman not being subtle about racism or whatever dumb shit he said, and obviously I can't judge a movie because I technically didn't see it, but Wonder Woman raped a guy because he was possessed by a ghost she loved. It is not surprising people were turned off by the movie when it includes that. The other example is Death Stranding, having been directed by Hideo Kojima. Simply put, that game is where he plays a delivery man in some kind of world where, you know what, honestly, I don't know enough of the story to mention it. All I know is that there's allegedly fast travel, but you can't use it, so you have to walk to another location for God knows how long. And people defended this, it got nominated for Game of the Year awards because humanity has been doomed for decades. Oh, and then the game got a director's cut version. The original version is the director's cut, though! Hell, you know what's the most upsetting part about this? This is supposed to be the final boss, and just look at it! It looks so goddamn badass that you would never expect it to be in this game. This design is absolutely amazing. Why are you stuck in shit? Get out of there while you still can and get into a better game, and please, I'm begging you! Look, as far as I can tell, there's no big example of where the Go Nuts initiative works out, and Balan Wonderworld is one of them. I honestly don't know what else I can say because this game is so bland and boring. Baland Blunderbore is what it should be called. I think the saddest part about this though is that not long after this game got released, Nakasan left Square, largely because he had one shot and because Square didn't interfere like they shouldn't have with Babylon's Fall, and now he's contemplating retirement. It just sucks because I wanted to at least try to like this game, but to see it for what it truly is, and knowing that this could be Nakasan's last video game, it is disheartening, especially since I myself am a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, and am super appreciative of Nakasan's work with that series. It's probably, as Miyamoto-san had said before, a delayed game can be eventually good, and a rushed game can be bad forever. But the most important part, and I'm just paraphrasing this part and adding it on, but the most important part of whether it can be good or bad is to not only make sure the player is having some kind of fun, because there can be fun found in how bad something is, you gotta make it worth talking about. You gotta give it stuff that, like, makes it worthwhile to remember, make it memorable. But the problem is, they took this idea of a Nights into Dreams spiritual successor and took everything that made Nights into Dreams great out of it. Like, it actually boggles my mind that they took this game, made it the way it is, looked at it, and thought, yeah, that's pretty fun. It's like, no, it's not fun, though! That's the most important thing about when making a game, whether it's a games as a service or anything else like that. You gotta make it fun, you gotta make it not feel repetitive, you gotta make it feel not monotonous. You gotta make it feel enjoyable to get through, especially when it comes to replay value, when people play games multiple times. Look at Metroid Dread, that game has been replayed non-stop by people. Some have even completed it to get all the extra stuff. Some are even managing to beat the freaking Dread mode where one hit gets you killed. Here in Balan Wonderworld, you don't have any of that sort of replayability because you will more than likely do as I did and give up in the first 3 chapters alone. Because that is how unfun the game is. I think the worst part about it is that they actually did make the game and just felt it just was okay. And it's boggling my mind that Nakasan looked at it and thought it was okay to ship. You know what? Actually, maybe he should retire, as much as it hurts me to say it.